MSI Titan GT77. This is the most expensive laptop that I've ever tested in my entire life. Why is it so? Because this comes with an Intel Core i7 12800HX, which is paired with an Nvidia RTX 3070 Ti, which is within itself a massive combination of the CPU and the GPU itself. We'll be attending every single point that you can see on your screen right now. Let me just get on to the first one, and that is the design of this. For the design, on the back we have the MSI logo, which actually has the RGB in it. Moving a little bit down, we have the air intake vents, which also has an RGB within itself. Looks somewhat like an Alienware design with 17 inches of big display. When you open it up, it feels somewhat like an Alienware design itself. The back is really massive and houses 4 exhaust fan itself. The fans are really loud. Stay tuned for the performance section of this. Moving a little bit down from the display, we have the Cherry MX keyboard, which is the best keyboard that I've ever experienced on a laptop. I'm telling, this is better than a MacBook itself. Surprisingly, the trackpad is large enough for all the gesture controls, and not to forget, this is a gaming machine and you have such a massive trackpad. That is very rare combination to find. Apart from that, you also get a fingerprint reader, which you can use it for your window hello feature itself. Moving on to the next one, and that is the build quality of this. The whole laptop is made out of pure metal, except for the bottom half, in which the top half is the metal itself and the bottom half is made out of the fiber itself. The screen wobbles a little, but there is no top lid flex or the keyboard flex itself. The hinges need to be tightened. Since these are 2 individual hinges, the hinge has to have the problem itself. So no complaints about that. Let me just get on to the next one, and that is the display of this. For the display, we have 1920 by 1080 FHD anti-glare, max peak brightness hitting up to a 300 nits with the refresh rate of 360 Hz. Where have you heard a 360 Hz display on a laptop? But the problem is it can be only switched between 60 and 360. There is no in between refresh rate itself. That's a little bit annoying. This display is ideal for gaming. There are 4K options also available in this model as well. Gaming on this screen is an absolute bliss. Stay tuned for the gaming section as well. The brightness is not meant for outside use cases. Take a look at the 4K video that I'm playing on the screen right now. I really like the colors. They are sharp and bright. Can be used for some basic content creation work. I'm just talking about the display. If you take the performance wise, this can edit an entire movie within itself. Such a powerhouse this laptop is. Let me just get on to the next one, and that is the performance and specifications of this. For the processor, we have Intel Core i7 12800HX, which is having an 8 performance cores and 8 efficiency cores itself, and has a max clock speed of around 5 GHz itself, and I have personally tested it till 4.5 GHz, which is an insane amount of clock speeds on a mobile device like this. Now moving on to the next one. For the RAM, we have 16 GB of DDR5, which is clocked at 4800 megahertz, and this can be expandable up to 64 GB. This laptop is complete mix of customization and power itself. Really loved this one. For the storage, we have 1.5 terabytes of Intel's RAID 0 NVMe M.2 SSD, which is having a good read-write speeds. The read-write speeds are on your screen right now. The most awaited part, that is the graphic card of this. For the GPU, we have Nvidia RTX 3070 Ti, which is the best graphic cards that I've ever tested on a mobile device like this. Really insane amount of power. This has a TGP of around 125 to 150. I'm not able to confirm which is the TGP present in this type of model itself. I'll just put it on the screen right away. After listening to all of these specifications, I know your mind is already blowing, but is it actually good in the real world test? Take a look at the Cinebench R23 score. I did get a score of 19,286, which is twice and still more powerful than my M.2 MacBook Air, which I use currently. Apart from that, I did test the pass mark score and the performance test for this laptop, and when I was testing the performance of this laptop, I was getting the frame rates of around 350 FPS or somewhat like that in 3D modeling and rendering. And when I switched to DirectX 11 testing in the pass mark or the PC mark test itself, I was able to achieve 450 FPS. Everything about this laptop is really insane in my opinion. Apart from the weight of this laptop and the insane takeoff thrusters that make sound, I mean, the fans that make so much of loud noise as if the laptop would take off from the table itself. The most awaited parts of all our viewers, and that is the game test of this. I did test a couple of games out of this. The first one was the GTA 5 and I was easily able to get 180 FPS with everything set to high, ultra, nothing is normal over here. Everything is set to high, ultra or ultra performance or very high, whatever the settings were there. I maxed it out. Everything was set to high and I got a FPS of around 180. That is mind blowing amount. And the CPU and the GPU usage was not bumping up as well. The laptop was getting really hot. The fan noise were simply out of the league. You could just hear it when you could sit in the different room as well. That much noise it was producing. No issues with that, since we are getting so much of performance out of this machine. I do expect that to happen. I did test the Cyberpunk 2077, which is a usual game that we test, which is very high graphic intensive game. That is why I like to test this for the new GPUs those come out. Now this I got an easy score of around 100 plus FPS. That was easily getting with everything set to high, ultra, whatever was there possible. And to note that I was playing all of this in 1920 by 1080p resolution, since the screen is of 1080p resolution itself. The key highlighting feature that you need to remember here is, when I was testing all of these, I was hitting the GPU temperatures at around 59 to 60. That was the maximum cap. It never crossed 60 degrees, but I have seen the laptops which have just MX 450 graphics and their GPU is reaching around 80 to 90 degrees. Now I'll shut my mouth, you just enjoy the gameplay and come back very soon. Moving on to the next one, let me talk a little bit about the battery. This has a 99.9 watt hours of battery because that is the limit that is allowed to carry on a commercial airplane. If you take a look, it will easily last you around 4 hours of normal usage. I'm using it since from 1.5 hours during my shoot of the video. Not to forget, I have to speak about the speaker qualities of this. I guess these speaker qualities are really loud, like they are not in the regular laptop. It is not possible itself, since you have such a thick chassis. I think this they could pull it off. Now coming on to the last part of this, who should buy this laptop itself? Now if you are looking for an maxed out laptop, like best of the best industry leading technology you want in a laptop and you can carry it all around, then the laptop is for you. If you are very deep into machine learning algorithms or you do training, I mean the model training in ML itself, you could require such a power itself.